Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our April finals for our league bracket. This is incredibly exciting. Today, we have Doomsday, piloted by Black Skydock, up against Blue White Spirits of all decks, favorite brew of Utopia Mycon. I'm joined in the booth today by Mr. Jack Dax. Mr. Jack Dax, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. It seems like up on the left we do not have their name written down right now, but it is Black Skydock, I promise. I don't know why it says Doomsday up there, but the deck list is Doomsday at the bottom left. Top right should say Black Skydock, but it says Doomsday. I'm sure it
Right.
will get fixed.
We all know who it is. We all know who it is. Well,
It's Black
can I just
Skydock.
say, the best thing about this finals match for the bracket is both players and what they've gone through so far. Where Black Sky Dot came into the round of 16, faced down Green White Maverick. Quarterfinals faced down Eldrazi Agro, and then we just watched him take down the semifinals match against
Is it Delver?
against Is It Delver. So all facing against typically fair decks, right? Then meanwhile, you have Utopia Mycon being the absolute combo killer on the complete opposite side of the bracket down bottom, taking down Ant, taking down taking down Bant Infect, and then taking down Blue White Omnitel in the semifinals
Oh
matchup.
yeah.
So the real question going into this right now is Utopia Mycon going to continue the streak and take down all the combo decks, or is Doomsday, piloted by Black Sky Doc, just going to be the fair deck killer?
I mean, that's a tough one to say. I was speaking to Utopia before this match, and he was telling me how his deck is supposed to be favored against this kind of thing. It is a combo eater, Esper Spirits is, so you have a lot of definite interesting plays that you can go with Spell Queller and Rattle Chains. So you do have things to get your way out of things, but I have faith in Doomsday, of course, piloted by a great pilot, knows what he's doing. Those piles are excellent. As you alluded to the previous game with Tensai, what a banger of a match.
Oh, just so fantastic. If you have not gone back and watched that semifinals match, I would highly recommend it. And same with Utopia Mycon's battle against Antonio in the Blue White
Mm-hmm.
Omnitel list. If you have ever wanted to watch a match that proved to you how good Mausoleum Wanderer is as a card, go back and watch that semifinals.
Oh yeah.
And really, you were talking about the combo killer cards, but it's been Mausoleum Wanderer for me that has been the absolutely impressive lights out one. Just the threat of the taxation when you start getting like two Mausoleum Wanderers and they're two power creatures,
Oh
it's
yeah.
like you can never go for the combo. And it's just just there beating you in while also just doing the threat of activation game plan against you. Does unfortunately look like Utopia Mycon is going down on cards, which of course is not something that we
Not a
want to
good
see,
sign. Not a good sign.
especially with Doomsday being on the play. Like we talked about in the previous matches, Black Skydock is just running through all of this, being able to be on the play because he tied for being first seat after all of our pool play, tied with Person of Secrets, the Bant Infect player, and is just able to win every single die roll as a result, and just getting to go for it, go for it, go for it, go for it.
Mhm.
Um, of note, also, I do think in this game one, I would expect Doomsday to be favored, and that is, even though Esper Spirits is the combo killer, there's just a certain amount of dead cards in this matchup. When we start looking at the multiple Force of Wills, the Lingering Souls, the Skyclave Apparitions, we just have this certain glut of kind of awkward and not the cards that we really want to be seeing, where if Utopia Mycon is able to not draw those cards, right? As long as Utopia Mycon avoids hitting three of these bad cards, for instance, and instead has the Gas Mausoleum Wanderer, Supreme Phantom, Spell Queller hand, that will be the way that we turn this on the head. But I am a little bit worried about all these dead cards going into the game one. What do you think about this matchup?
I think it favors Esper Spirits a lot, but you really have to be on the play. You have to be proactive about this, and you definitely don't need to go down to 5 on your first turn and then you get Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
That seems like a bad time.
Ooh, this is exactly what Thoughtseize is so good at doing, of course, punishing hands when they're already so low. Seeing a beautiful, beautiful Spell Queller. Oh, this entire Spirits list is just absolutely gorgeous. Although I do have to say that Thoughtseize is pretty looking as well.
Yeah, good old border Thoughtseize. Shout out to Time Spiral Remaster. Big fan of that. Wish I could afford them, especially in foil. RIP my wallet.
This feels like a snap take the brainstorm, right?
Oh yeah, get rid
Just
of the
prevent,
brainstorm. Get rid of the
yeah,
brainstorm.
just prevent Utopia Mycon from being able to sculpt the hand at all. You know that you have to play around a Spell Queller, which is totally fine. Um, yeah, I feel like this has to be a take brainstorm here. Supreme Phantom not really doing anything when there are not Mausoleum Wanderers on the battlefield.
Oh yeah, there's really nothing to power this thing in. You just take the brainstorm and call it a day. Yeah, Doomsday player is gonna be big chilling over here. LED. Okay,
Oh,
we're just going. Okay.
okay, great.
Goodbye.
Might as well. Might as well.
Goodbye.
let's prevent our opponent from having the possibility of top decking a Forcible and being able to interact.
This is
Instead,
turn
we're just going to
one.
make a pile. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best part about this is Black Skydock could make this pile with literally no draws and just go through 5 turns until he finally like goes Cavern, cast Oracle, and that would be totally fine. Like knowing Utopia Mycon's hand, there's no way that Utopia Mycon can pressure down maybe it is possible, but it's incredibly unlikely. We would need to chain some really fantastic and aggressive draws in order to be able to take down Black Skydock at this point.
Oh yeah, no, there's nothing better than turn one. See all the defenses are down and just straight into Doomsday. It's fine, easy. I do have to
Yeah,
wonder what kind of pile we're gonna build here. Of course, Oracle's gonna be in it. Cavern might be in it if it's not already in the hand. Imagine maybe LED, maybe, and then Ideas Abound somewhere in there, and possibly either Street Wraith or a Edge of Autumn.
I think there's some potential to see it days as well if we're going for a slow pile,
Could
right?
be.
Just to have the additional point of interaction, especially because the real things that we're worried about are Utopia Mycon's list are kind of more mana intensive plays if we are going with a slow pile. Like, for instance, if that spell color happens to become live at some point, which I kind of can't imagine. Um, yeah, we'll have to see the way this goes. I'm not gonna lie. After commentating on 3 of Black Sky's, this being my third Black Sky match that I'm commentating on, I am done trying to guess the piles. Absolutely,
Pile's
I'm
too
wrong
hard.
every single. I am wrong every single time. So you know what? At this point, I'm just gonna wait and see what
You
happens.
could just go down the list and like choose 5 at random and be like, maybe I'll put a land in, and I don't know, Baleful
A
Strix
baleful
maybe.
strix.
Yeah.
The pile of double baleful strix from the semifinals game, like that was so not on my wavelength whatsoever. Yeah, whatever. I'm done yelling about this right now. I will talk to Black Sky Doc personally about this afterwards to let him know my frustration.
Do we seal Baleful Strix though? I don't think we do.
I can't see a lot of those cards. I'll be totally
I've seen
honest. I see
Abrupt
one.
Decay.
I
I see
see
some
one Strix.
Dazes.
There's one Strix next to a Ponder in the second from the top pile. We see Lion's Eye Diamond in there, so we know that's not
Yeah,
in there. And I
I didn't see an Edge of
didn't see much
Autumn, so
else.
I'm sure the Edge of Autumn's somewhere in the pile then. And I didn't see a Cavern, so maybe Cavern in hand or in pile.
Let's go back and just pause real quick so we can go through and name every single spell. Okay, let's get on that.
No.
And passing back.
Don't worry, I'm sure
Of
we'll see
note, of
more of
course,
it.
this UC is tapped, of course.
Oh
And
look,
drew the brainstorm.
better to
Oh
be lucky
god,
than good. Better to be lucky than good.
got the brainstorm. That's sick.
Better to be
Going in
lucky
Tundra.
than good.
Who needs it? So I mean, that's a good draw from Utopia Mycon. Honestly, not as good as what a Mausoleum Wanderer would be, just because Mausoleum Wanderer would actually be able to pressure down. If Black Sky Doc had chosen to take kind of like a slower game plan, but we'll have to see the way that this goes.
Hey, a boy can dream, Oliver. A boy can dream, right?
I do every night, baby, every single night. And yeah, of course, of note, this UC is tapped at the moment. Not that it's exactly going to matter. There is no Spell Pierce coming out of Black Sky Doc's hand or list for that matter, just to be
Yeah,
very
no,
clear.
no.
I realize how vague that was. That was a joke that there's none in the list also. Just so we're all on the same wavelength here.
The only thing
And
that
this brainstorm's
theoretically could be cast is Brainstorm, which I don't imagine happening. As I believe we saw all the brainstorms in the exile pile, so that really can't happen.
were you, of note, were you the one recording this match as well?
I believe so.
All
And
right, perfect. And thanks to our table spotter, Mr. Jack Jax, down on the ground floor, making sure that no brainstorm is cast with this with this untapped
yeah,
underground
but I'm
sea.
also pretty sure that we saw all 4 brainstorms in the pile in the exile pile. So
I'm just impressed.
if he does brainstorm here,
I'm just impressed how
there's
quickly
some
you could look through that entire pile.
there's
Because
some
meanwhile, I was on the
questions.
second row.
There's some questions. I'm almost positive it's all 4 brainstorms in that pile from what I saw. I saw at least 3.
Oh wait, where are we? Did we do a draw pass that we missed and didn't talk about? That's why the underground sea's being
Yes.
tapped. Okay. My
Yes.
apologies. I thought that we were still on that we were still in turn one with all
Nope.
this
Nope.
happening. Nope. That brainstorm was end of turn, it turns out.
Oh yeah. As you see, we put the lovely Spirit logo on the Cavern of Souls, just to let you know, we got a Mausoleum Wanderer coming out with Spirit. We're gonna go down by 2 because we're playing a good old Cycle Street Wraith. Only one of in the Doomsday list.
So of course Doomsday did actually go with the slow pile or Black Sky Look at me. I'm calling Black Sky Doc Doomsday just because it's in the
Doomsday
top left
himself.
corner. I'm
Doomsday
getting
himself. The man, the
the
myth, the
man,
legend.
Doomsday. And yeah, here we go.
Yeah, we're gonna name Wizard probably. And we're done here.
That's all it takes. It had to be exactly a swords in hand to be able to interact with that because there were cards left in the library. But going with a little bit of the slow pile, knew that there was no real potential for Utopia Mycon to clock in quickly, so could go with that. Yeah. So real quick, kind of happened off the mulligans, right? We saw a mull to 5 into a
Oh
turn 1
yeah.
Thoughtseize, which is never great. But let's go ahead and let's jump into these sideboards real quick before we get to game 2. We have Utopia Mycon coming to us today with 1 Disenchant, 2 Oath of Ghouls, which I promise for the audience I will read after this, because that is a reader for sure. 2 Remorseful Clerics, 2 Fairy Macabres, 1 Force Negation, 2 Plague Engineer, 2 Teferi Time Ravelers, 1 Mindbreak Trap, and 2 of the spiciest cards of all times, Opposition. Going for the good old Opposition lock. Of note, because I did promise, Oath of Ghouls is an enchantment for 1 generic and a black that during each player's upkeep, if there are more creature cards in that player's graveyard than in target opponent's graveyard, that player can return a creature card from his or her graveyard from his or her hand. Essentially, just being a recursive value engine. You bring this in the like basically removal heavy matchups where they aren't playing Swords of Plowshares and are playing like bolts and other things, and you just get to keep bringing your creature back again and again and again. But real quick, what are you liking out of the sideboard plan for this matchup specifically?
I really like Mindbreak Trap and Teferi. Mind Trip back makes a lot of fun situations when you're playing against Doomsday, when they go Dark Ritual into Doomsday. You might be gotcha'd on those moments.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
and then Teferi, of course, is just all around great. Bounces things, makes you draw cards, plus it so you can cast things on their turn. All around great. I
Of
can't
note,
really think of anything else that's decent.
Force Negation, I think, is a card that can come in as well. Just an additional force. And again, we talked about how many bad cards there are on Utopia Mycon's side here. Again, 3 Skyclaves, 3 Lingering Souls, 4 Swords of Plowshares. Just not really what we want to be doing. Those are just far, far too slow in terms of the Lingering Souls beat down with like Lord Plan.
Oh
And
yeah,
then Swords of Plowshares technically would have been good that last game. However, is very much not something we want to be doing. There is some question, and we'll talk about this when we get to Black Sky Doc's sideboard. But because this is open deck lists, Utopia Mycon is aware that there's the threat of not mystical disputes, defense grids
yes,
coming out of the sideboard as well. So I do wonder if there's going to be some thought process about bringing in the disenchant, just as a line to be able to get through that and make sure that spell quellers forces are still live. Of course, Aether Vial is a way to counteract that
of
specifically for the
course.
spell queller. So we're going to have to see the way that this works out. Um, and then of note, of course, also Utopia Mycon has elected to go with Fairy Macabres over Surgical, so we unfortunately are not going to be able to see the classic bring in Surgical, make your opponent shuffle their deck after they Doomsday plan. Again, go watch that semifinals against Tensai. It was
A lot
pretty
of
fiery.
fun.
But let's jump over to over to Black Sky Doc's side. How many times
Doomsday
am I going to
himself.
call him?
Doomsday
How many times
himself.
am I going to call him Doomsday during the stream? Oh my
It's
goodness!
gonna be great. It's
Oh,
gonna be great.
I guarantee you we're going to hit 5 times total easily. 2 Carpet of Flowers, 2 Flusterstorms, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 1 Surgical Extraction, 2 Veil of Summer, 1 Abrupt Decay, 2 Defense Grids, as we previously talked about, 2 Mystical Disputes, and 1 Massacre. What are you liking here?
Uh, you know, I'm feeling that master plan. It seems really good here.
All right, you said that as a joke last time against Is It Delver? Or do you mean that seriously here, right? There's actually planes in this deck. That's not just a meme
Okay,
answer.
okay. It's like half a meme and half not a meme. Because actually, -2/-2 does hurt the spirit stack. Depending on if lords come out or not. You can just murder Mausoleum Wanderers and a couple other things. It is pretty nutty. I will say, like if you get the right things out, it does work well. But
I
I
think
don't, I don't think it's coming in. I don't think it's coming in. Let's be
I
real.
think what's so interesting about this matchup is this is not a matchup that you have prior experience with really, unless you've played against Utopia Mycon or the 2 other people who
Oh
play this
yeah.
deck on MTGO. So it is really interesting the way that you approach it. If you understand how good Mausoleum Wanderer is and how much you kind of have to fear that card if it does come down, there's some potential there. I think it's a possibility to bring it in. However, you just have so many good cards in this deck already that I'm not sure if you exactly need it. Besides that, I do kind of like Abrupt Decay. Again, it's a veil, or it's I'm sorry, it's a Aether Vial attack. You don't really have permanents that you need to be afraid of taxing you out of the game or preventing you from combo off, but it does kind of help you stymie their plan a little bit and give yourself more time. So I wouldn't mind seeing Abrupt Decay coming again. I also said that against Is It Delver and turned out to be wrong, so who knows. I not the biggest fan of Flusterstorm, although I do understand that could come in. Maybe I'm putting a little bit too much weight on the spell quellers. It does allow you to fight with the forces. At the same time, Veiled is the exact same thing for that, with bringing you up a little bit on bring you up on cards. So we're gonna have to see the way that this goes. Do you like anything else besides Massacre? Is the big question.
No, I really just like the 2 defense grids and maybe an abrupt decay.
Oh, I
Um,
forgot
on,
to mention the defense grids. Yeah,
on the real note, not just memeing about Massacre, because I do hate Massacre so much as a former D&D player. Um, I think it's gonna be defense grids both in, and then maybe a Veil and abrupt decay, or maybe double Veil. I don't
yeah.
see anything else coming in handy here, unless you somehow really think you're gonna get teched against. Because you have nothing that kills any of his creatures, unless you really think he's gonna oath. Which I don't think he will. Nothing actually deals with his stuff unless he wants to start like going off the incremental value of sacking his creatures because he can sack to counter spells. And that's so niche. Okay.
There is some question about the Carpet of Flowers here, right? Where the Carpet of Flowers isn't as good in this matchup as it is against Delver, where almost every single one of the mana bruising lands that aren't Wasteland are netting you mana. However, this is still a 3 Wasteland deck, and of course, while we didn't see them in Game 1, Black Sky Doc does have perfect information about it. So there is some question about whether or not you bring in the Carpet of Flowers. Of course, this is also an only Force deck. There's no Dazes, there's no Spell Pierces, so you aren't blowing as many cards out of the water as you
Yep.
are against Delver. So we're gonna have to see the way this goes. Again, just gonna say I'm done trying to predict what Black Sky Doc does. Like I've just been dead wrong every single time. So we'll have to see the way that this works.
Oh
Utopia
yeah.
Mycon, of course, being on the play going into this, which is going to be a huge windfall for him for sure.
Thank the
Especially if
Lord
we
for
can
him.
go, especially if we can go turn 1 Aether Vial or turn 1 Mausoleum Wanderer. That is exactly where we need to be in terms of pressuring Doomsday down quickly.
Yeah, with Doomsday, you really need to get your foot on the pedal and then just never let go. If you start letting go, you're gonna get Doomsdayed out really fast.
And let's see if these players can keep these sevens.
Well, let's hope.
Yeah, please, no Mulda 5. Please, no Mulda 5. Jordan, no spoilers.
No
Please.
spoilers.
Thank you.
No spoilers.
It's a total side tangent, absolutely. But y'all, Fulminator Mage is a really pretty card when it's blown up on a playmat. I
Is
keep
that
getting
is that
distracted.
OG Fulminator?
I do believe it
Okay,
is. And it is quite spicy. It is very pretty. And
that's very nice.
Utopia Mycon tanking really hard on this.
Oh, we're gonna ship
Is
it
this a
back.
ship? Oh, that is a
We're
ship.
shipping it back.
Looks like
How
Black
low
Sky
will we
Dock is
go?
completed. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, how low will we go? That's the question.
Hopefully we get to keep 6. I would love to not see this final match come down to 2 Mulda 5s, but we'll have to see the way that it goes. Black Sky is electing to keep the 7 from the looks of it.
I'm sure hoping it won't go down to a multi 5. I actually can't remember if it's a multi 5 or not. I have not perfect recall, unfortunately. That would be nice if I did. But we'll see what happens. Seems like Doomsday, I mean Black Sky Doc, I mean the Doomsday expert himself is going to keep
Mr.
7.
Doomsday.
Mr. Doomsday.
Oh goodness. Black Sky Doc, hit me up at some point after you watch this to yell at me, please. I definitely need to have my hand slapped with the amount of times I've messed this up. Goodness gracious. Sometimes it works because it sounds like I'm just talking about the Doomsday player. Other times it's just blatantly wrong. Mr. Doomsday, though, that will be a potential title at a certain point. And we're
I'm
going to take
sure.
a look at this. Let's see if we get to keep the 6.
I'm sure at some point down the line, maybe we can have a Doomsday podcast with him on. Maybe, possibly. Who knows?
There is I can confirm that there is a list of people that are potential people to bring on the podcast. That is all I will say.
Look, I'm just trying to help my users. Just trying to help the users get some ideas about what might be coming down the pipeline.
Just bait them.
Don't worry.
and we'll get to see. Keep it. Keep it, please. Come on, Utopia. I believe in you. No! Not like this. This is sad on 2 levels, really. One, we're going to see another game of Mulda 5, which we're incredibly disfavored against, unless we have an incredibly aggressive start, right? Where when you're mulling to 5 on the play against a Thoughtseize deck, that is just not where you want to be at all. You spend 2 cards on your first like turn 1 play, and then they thought seize you, and you're down to 2 cards in hand going forward for the rest of the game. That is not where we want to be. And of course, there's no card advantage engine in this deck,
This
right?
is
There's no Sylvan Library to get us
so.
back. You can brainstorm, and that is it. And that is not getting you up on cards, no matter what anyone tries to convince you of.
I do
Uh,
recall, if I do recall correctly, Utopia was telling me what was happening here. While I was recording, he was saying the first one had no lands, the second one had like 5 lands, and nothing else. So this is why we're going down to 5. The first
yeah,
one
I
was
mean,
all
it's
gas. The
back.
second one was not anything.
First one was all gas. Second one was no breaks.
Yeah, all gas and nowhere to go. Um, you don't like those.
No.
So
No
luckily
need to know.
we are not limited by our mulligan rule of our time. We are on the London mulligan rule. Thanks, Watsy. That was actually a pretty good rule when they instituted it, because drawing 7 every time, it feels much better than what we used to. And we're going down to
Yeah.
4. Remember how you said we're not going down to 5? I didn't lie to you. We're not going down to 5. Kind of like
Mr.
that.
Jack Jackson realized.
Kind of like that SpongeBob episode where he's like, "Oh no, it's one giant paint bubble. How could it get any worse?" He's like, "Oh, I got it," and Patrick just blows up another paint bubble. 2 paint bubbles.
Oh, this is so sad at this point, but hey, you know what?
You
Give me
know?
that turn 1 Mausoleum Wanderer, and
Yeah.
it is a game all of a sudden
Yeah,
again.
it becomes a
Just
game.
just give me it. Give me that 1/1 beater, please.
I didn't want to ruin your moment where you're just like, "Oh, we're gonna go down to 5 again, aren't we?" I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think so. We're not going down to 5. I can almost assure you. Tried my
Big
best
props to
not.
Mr. Jack.
Tried my
Big
best
props to
not
Mr.
to
Jack
smile
Jackson.
the entire time. He's just like, "We're not going down to 5, are we?" I'm like, "No, we're not going down to 5. Probably not."
No spoilers, baby. No spoilers. All right. Well, at this point, Black Sky Doc has watched a lot of shuffling,
Oh
more
yeah.
shuffling than cards he's actually played himself. Um, and here we go. We're gonna pray to the old gods over this mull. Let's hope that we can find a keepable 4.
I don't even
Please,
think you
please.
can mull down to 3 in this deck. There's just no way you would actually ever go down to 3. You just have to keep whatever you have at 4. I can't
I
see a
probably would.
logical reason. I can't see a logical reason you'd ever go down to 3. Unless you somehow think that you're gonna have the god hand where it's a land, Aether Vial, and Mausoleum Wanderer.
I cannot tell you how many times I've mulled down to 4 because it's incredibly few. Because half the time I just keep terribly garbage 5s because
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, it's not going to work. Like unless I'm specifically against like Dredge or Tess, and of course I play Infect, right? So we're just looking for the 4 cards that win at a certain point. But I don't know. And we get to see it though. We get to see my favorite card in this entire deck.
We
That
do.
beautiful foil Mausoleum Wanderer coming down.
I cannot tell you the
And
amount of times I've actually mulled down to 4 or 3. It's very low.
yeah,
When I played Stoneblade, I've always kept like 7, and very rarely I went down to 6, even if my 7s were like, eh. Dead Gael, I keep 7 usually, because like most of the time I draw into that, it's just like, yeah, I got 3 lands. This is perfect mana. I got a Bob. I'm ready to go. Bye.
we're also now talking about here, of course, the homie matches at FNMs where you mull down to 0 for the fun of it, right? Like we're not
No, I'm not
we're
even
not
talking.
about those.
I'm not even talking homie
including
matches.
those.
No, I'm not even talking homie matches. Like half the time, I'm just like, yep, black, whatever. Perfect mana
Keep
base.
this
It's fine.
keep this 5. Keep this 5. And we're seeing Wasteland come down and second Mausoleum Wanderer. So this is
Oh
kind
yeah.
of a game. Of course, Black Sky Dog almost said Mr. Doomsday. It does have 7 cards in hand. So we're able to pilot through this.
Oh
But I
yeah.
think at this point we just hit with the Wasteland. In my opinion, so we're swing for 2 here off of that ETB trigger, and we just hope to be able to deny at this point, and hope that Black Sky Deck kept a medium or tepid 7.
Yeah, you gotta pray for like a bad hand.
Is that
Yeah,
discard a hand type?
yeah, we did. We did.
This is it, baby. This is a game all of a sudden. That Wasteland was so good. We see second land coming in, swinging in for 2. You have 2 force spikes or 2 mana tides, whatever you want to call these creatures that you have to deal with if you're going to try to combo off.
We did draw into a land, so we're gonna go with the Preordain.
Okay.
I'm sure we're gonna Preordain for another land somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think what we really needed was 1 or 2 more faded draw steps from Black Sky Dock if we're looking at Utopia Mike on side here. And also, in case y'all can't tell, as soon as somebody mulls down this low, I'm immediately on their side and absolutely banking on them to win. I was honestly wishing bad draws for Black Sky Dock there. My apologies, my friend, but I hope you understand why. And Brainstorm. That is a really good rip for us at this
Oh
point.
yeah.
Being able to just try to find any live spells to be able to hope to interact. Another Wasteland would be pretty good, although there's been a cantrip. I believe the preordained was keep one, put one on the bottom, if I
Yes.
recall correctly.
Yes, it
Okay.
was. We did draw that card. We must have liked it.
I imagine
Assuming it might be
honestly,
a
I think we're
land.
still
Might be a
there. I
land,
would think
probably.
it is. I would assume it is. And swing for two.
On 14.
Please show me a game three. I would be so happy if we were able to get there. Of course, every turn that Black Skydock is not able to combo off, because of Doomsday reducing your life by half and this being chunked for two. At this point, if we Doomsday on this turn, we're going to be at seven. So it is still a potential thing for Utopia Mycon to be able to get there through a slow pile. But yeah, we're going to have to see the way that this goes. Black Skydock tanking very hard right now, which is never a good sign out of a Doomsday
Oh
player.
no.
Ponder. Okay. I'm okay with that.
Less bad.
Well, wheel spinning is fine at the moment. Like, just don't do your thing and let me get as much damage marked on you as possible. Now, what we really want on Utopia Mycon's side is that brainstorm, because of course these are two known cards on top. We potentially brainstorm locked ourselves because there was no fetch land, but we really want to have found a Supreme Phantom there and have it be uncastable, and then we just get to jam it on this next turn, attack, get Doom or get Black Skydock down to 8. Um, from them being two twos with the Supreme Phantom, and then also having the ETB triggers to make them 3 for the turn.
What if we
Um,
just play Underground Sea here and we just cast map? What if?
oh, that would be really good. You're right.
If
Massacre. Massacre is
what
real here.
what if, no meme, what if we actually played Massacre? What if we actually sideboarded it
Uh,
in and just massacre?
then what you do is you sack them both to attack just for the sake of principle. Like you just want to make sure that
Yeah.
everyone knows that Mausoleum Wanderer is a live card in some way.
I don't think it will happen, but it's a nice dream. I also like
Last
to note that Utopia Mycon has foil FNM promo brainstorms. From what I'm seeing, I believe those are the foil ones because I can kind of see an FNM logo on the bottom of the stamp. So those are very nice.
Utopia Mycon's entire list is absolutely beautiful.
He is also an MTGO player as well. I believe he's topped a Legacy Challenge at one. He's at least made a top 8. I'm positive. Don't remember what day or what weekend, but I'm pretty sure I've seen him. This is what he's known for playing.
Spirits, baby.
One of
You
the few
live by the
players.
spirits, you die by the
One of the few
spirits.
players who actually does play spirits. So seems like we're gonna fetch here. I wonder what we're gonna find. If it's Underground Sea, we might be going.
We're gonna have to see. So I'm just looking up the price of Oath of Ghouls right now because I might pick up two. I really like this card. This is really sweet. Unfortunately, not live in this matchup or any matchup that we have seen Utopia play in this entire top 16. But, that's what happens when you're on the combo side of the bracket and playing a combo killer.
We see a Rattle Chains and Lantern, I think. I don't know what that is. Like.
That's Mind Break Trap.
Oh, is that Mind Break Trap? I do not
Yeah,
recognize
so
that.
Mind Break Trap gets stripped away.
Rest in peace, Mind Break Trap plan.
Supreme Phantom. Please let it be. Or I guess we just Rattle Chains and just chunk in for 4.
Yeah. Rattle Chains Chunkin' for 4 is also a good one.
The fact that we have not jammed a Supreme Phantom right away tells me that it is not the Supreme Phantom, unfortunately. Swing.
Only 2. Is but a scratch.
And it looks like we're just attacking for the 2. We're not even putting the Rattle Chains out there. Either bluffing additional interaction or
Saving it for the Rattle Chains because I think Rattle Chains what has flash and gives you protection. Expert.
it gives the creature hexproof for the turn, yeah. Interesting though, because it is preventing 2 damage that would otherwise be getting dooms or would otherwise be getting Black Skydock to 9, and then this fetch land getting Black Skydock to 8, of course, which would make the Doomsday chunk them down to 5 or 4, where you then actually have lethal. But it really matters what this last card is in hand.
So we're
Dark
gonna
Rit,
see
we're
the
going
Dark
for it.
Rit. Luckily we do have the mana to back it up too. So okay if we just dark red here. You can tap both our lands and be fine. If they're willing to like sacrifice it all. We're
Oh,
gonna
I guess the one thing of note is by holding the rattle chains here, you're able to play rattle chains, pump them, and have additional mana attacks on this turn. So I can understand this.
yes.
So, for instance, if we go ahead and play Doomsday here, you can counter the Doomsday. But there's another
We're
Dark
playing Dark
Ritual.
Ritual. We're playing Dark
That
Ritual
counters the
instead.
fine. Okay. My apologies to Utopia Mycon. That line makes a lot more sense. And ETB triggers. Oh, nope. We're dazing it.
Goodbye.
Okay. Okay.
And there is a question of if it resolves or not. Because there is a world where you could sack a creature to counter the day.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. You have two black floating in the mana pool right now. You could pay the forced black sky to pay one.
At this point, it's all about mana denial.
Yeah,
Trying to exhaust the mana. I think that's the
and then
question
forced to
here.
pay two. The issue with this line of if you sack the Mausoleum Wanderer, force Black Sky to pay one, that Black Sky Dock probably taps down the Trop, then have the Rattle Chains resolve, and then have the trigger on the stack to make the other Mausoleum Wanderer 2/2, and then sack it then to try to counter this either
Well,
this
Router
second
Chains wouldn't
control.
resolve then because you got to pay for the days.
No, I'm saying if you pay for the days and then to try to basically turn on the other Mausoleum Wanderer to turn into a 2/2, it still isn't going to be able to counter the
Yep.
either this Dark Writ or the Doomsday effectively. Sorry, I had to think for a moment on what the card is actually called again. I've been
Mm-hmm.
calling Black Sky by this card name the entire time, and apparently can't remember it when it's time to say it.
We're up to 5
Yeah, it
now.
just resolves. Don't have to worry about Mind Break Trap because, of course, there's only one in the list, and we already discarded it away. And we Doomsdayin.
Oh yeah, making the 5 card pile that we can never guess.
I'm not even going to try. Although Black Sky Dock is very quick with it this time.
I mean, we know for sure if it's not in hand, it's always gonna be the Merfolk.
Looks like we grabbed 6, 3 cards in hand. One of them known being Underground Sea.
Get your Oracle. The endless decision here. What 5
I
do you
wonder.
keep?
I do have to wonder if we did play a land drop already on Black Sky Dock's side, so you can't do Cavern, or there's no way to play a land to get additional mana source at this point. I do think that this is going to be a pass back pile. And nope, we're going for it. We got the brainstorm in hand. See, I'm wrong every time about these piles, every single time.
I mean, it's totally fine. You know, we could have LED in the pile somewhere. Or we could have Lotus Petal too. There's a lot of different things that could happen here.
And we are fighting over it now.
Yeah, just pay the extra. Live your dreams. There's 2 black floating still, so now 1.
I feel like if we spent the first one, we're priced into doing the second one as well.
Yeah, you would think. I do have to wonder what the line here was to not counter this one.
Or not to tax the additional black source.
Yeah.
There's that good old Lion's Eye. Edge of Autumn on the stack, popping the Lion's Eye Diamond. Discarding the known Underground Sea in hand.
I think we're going to get 3 blue here. Ideas
Yeah.
Unbound, double blue.
Ideas Inbound. Draw what we need. Have 1 blue floating still from the Lion's Eye Diamond.
And a black.
Oh, and the black, of course, which is going to
Black
be
that was
spent.
never used, yep. We're going to
In the
Ideas
end, it
Unbound
didn't really
time.
matter.
Oh yeah. Lotus Petal. Cast Oracle.
With Mystical Dispute back up. Very nice.
Very clean, very clinical.
Impressive pile. Very interestingly, we did see that Skyclave Apparition stayed in Utopia Mycon's
Did he bring
in
the
the deck.
Oath? Did I just see Oath? He did.
Oath? The
Yeah, I
Black
just
Oath?
saw. Yeah, I saw the Black Oath.
That's interesting. I was not expecting that. Um, I guess it's pretty great with Mausoleum Wanderer in terms of being able to rebuy them. You're not worried about your opponent
Yeah,
actually
see,
turning
there's the
off
Oath right
your.
there.
Yeah, no, dead right. And I can actually respect that line.
Interesting.
Do wonder Remorseful Cleric didn't. I can't imagine Remorseful Cleric was brought in for any
I
reason.
cannot
So
imagine.
I guess it's really just to be bring back with Mausoleum Wanderer. I actually really like that because you have so many dead cards in the matchup and you didn't have a terrible amount to bring in. Again,
Oh
we
yeah.
really said that there was Mindbreak Track to ferry potentially the Disenchant if you really wanted to, and that was iffy. And the force negation. So
Mhm.
I can respect that a lot in terms of at least it combos with Mausoleum Wanderer to start taxing every single one, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
it looks like we're just freezing just a little bit right here. So unfortunately, it isn't looking like we're going to get to look at
Yeah.
all of Utopia Mycon sideboard plan. And it looks like just two Veils and the Mystical Dispute came in from Black Sky Dock side.
From what it appears, yeah,
Or maybe there was more. Maybe we're having some freezing on both sides. But
probably.
regardless, overall, really fantastic top 16. It looks like we had the fair deck killer, Mr. Doomsday, Black
My
Skydock,
God.
coming in to take down the April League and be our
March.
new
This is
league
the
champ.
March league.
I said that
Oliver.
wrong in the beginning, didn't
Oliver's
I?
losing it.
Oh,
Yeah. It is
it's
now
April now.
April. It's now
It's
April,
now April.
guys.
Oh, look at
But
me. I know what I'm
it
talking
is the
about.
winner
Being
of the
our
March
March
league. Don't worry.
champion. Being our March champion and taking it all down. And Utopia Mycon, unfortunately, not being able to be the full combo killer and get there all the way. All in all, this is a really fantastic event.
Oh
Mr.
yeah.
Jack Dax, I got a real question. If I liked what I saw and I wanted to get involved with what's happening on our Legacy Discord, how could I go ahead and do so?
Well, in our YouTube description down below, there's a link to our Discord where you can join all our fun events. We have an invitational coming up on May. Qualify for that, you earn points through our league system and through playing in our different challenges or in our bi-weekly European-centric time zone challenge. It's a ton of fun. We do 5 to 6 rounds typically on a Saturday and or a Sunday, depending on if it's a bi-weekly event. You gain points also by playing in our monthly league, which you play at your own pace until you make it to the top 16. If you're in the top 16, you play somewhat at your own pace. And then when we get to the top 8, we ask for people to play at a certain time period. Deck lists are not locked until you make it into the round of 16. So if you make it to the playoffs, you got open deck list and playoffs and a ton of fun there. But if you're just playing in the league, you get to, in your pool play whatever you like. Change from deck to deck, anything that you want, basically. It is a ton of fun. And once again, I'm Mr. Jack Dax. I've got Oliver with me, and I hope you let us be our local meta. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.